Hi, this is Jim Welsh from macrotides.com. Thanks for tuning in. In an August 6th video entitled Will Global Weakness in Manufacturing Spread to Services, I reviewed a chart of the PMIs for both services and manufacturing and showed how far below 50, which is the demarcation line between contraction and expansion, manufacturing had fallen, and highlighted the fact that the spread between manufacturing and services was quite wide. My expectation and conclusion was that we would, in coming months, see services begin to slow down as the trade talks dragged on. Now we can update the picture looking at PMIs for the month of September, and as you can see, in September, the PMI for the Eurozone dropped fairly sharply, as did the PMI for manufacturing. So we're seeing even more weakness in manufacturing, and that weakness is in fact pulling down the services component. The same thing occurred with the U.S. PMIs, with the PMI for manufacturing dropping further below 50, and the non-manufacturing services index also declining. The weakness in the Eurozone, though, is really concentrated in Germany. They get 22% of their GDP from manufacturing and rely heavily, about 47% of GDP for exports. So Germany is not only the weakest within the EU, but it's also starting to pull down other countries in the EU in terms of the weakness. If we analyze the German PNI and compare it to German GDP, we can see the correlation is really pretty strong. And what it suggests is that as the German PMI has dropped significantly below 50, we will see Germany drop into a recession if they're not already in a recession. And the key point here is that as weakness continues to engulf Germany, we're going to see manufacturing employment begin to drop as measured by the light blue line. And as manufacturing drops, what will happen is that the unemployment rate, which is very low in Germany, will begin to rise. And I believe that nothing gets politicians' attention as the unemployment rate. And when it begins to rise, what we're going to see is more and more pressure build within Germany to actually launch a fiscal stimulus program. As I reviewed back in August, Germany has far more capability of launching fiscal stimulus. First of all, if you look at their debt to GDP ratio as measured by the scale on the left, we can see it's less than 60% and far lower than just about every other country in the EU. In addition, looking at the right scale, which shows the amount of their annual budget deficit or surplus, in Germany's case, it is a surplus of greater than 1%. So Germany has the fiscal room to launch a fiscal stimulus program. And if I'm right, the pressure will build on Germany within Germany to increase fiscal stimulus. I know that outside of Germany, voices are already trying to urge Germany to take this step. And as Christine Lagarde takes over the European Union, the ECB, the central bank, she is going to obviously have intense conversations with Germany. I think that pressure is going to build, and sometime early next year, I think Germany will in fact launch some kind of fiscal stimulus. The key thing, though, for markets is not when they actually launch it or decide and vote on doing it, but as we start to see the resistance to launching a fiscal stimulus program begin to wane, the markets are going to anticipate that that's where we're headed. And what that means, I think, is good news for the European economy, obviously for Germany as well. But since the German Bund has led global interest rates down over the last 12 months, I think potentially it could signal a significant turn up, not only in the German 10-year Bund, but also global interest rates, at least for a period of time, once it becomes clear that Germany is in fact moving toward launching a fiscal stimulus program. Thanks for tuning in. Hope something good happens for you today.